Welcome back to Tina Butty Podcast. I am Erica.
And I am Dominic.
And today we're going to do a little bit of a story time.
Story time!
And I hope this story is going to be long enough to kind of
Well,
fill our little time frame that we try to keep these podcasts
allotted time
in.
frame of half an hour.
Yeah.
Half an hour.
Around half an hour. I think we've done some that are much longer than half an hour. Accidentally.
Very accidentally.
But yeah, so this story time, and we're going to just talk about a little bit about airports in Britain, particularly.
Yeah.
In general, but mostly we're going to talk about this one incident that happened on my second trip into Britain. Which was in 2008.
Was it 2008?
Yeah.
So long ago.
It was very long ago. We're old.
2008 was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? Where were you in 2008? Tell us.
Yeah, let us know what you were doing in 2008. Were you even born yet, we wonder?
Were you even born yet? Yeah, some of you might not even been born yet. Some of you might be 10.
Okay, so we'll just get right into it, I guess. I went to Britain the first time.
Flew with United Airlines?
I flew with, I can't remember what airline it was the first time.
Continental Airlines.
Continental
bollocks, I used to call them, yeah.
Yeah, God, it was still Continental back then, wasn't it?
Because they're United now, aren't they?
Yeah, United Continental or something like that. Yeah, they've merged. Anyway. I went for my first time in 2007. If you guys have been listening to us for a while, or if you know us, then you've probably heard some of this.
Yeah, we've told some stories. Yeah. Our airport stories. This is airport story time.
So the first time was November to the first week of December. It was a couple of weeks, and I flew over there by myself. I always wanted to be one of these kids who took a trip around Europe after they graduated. I mean, unfortunately, though, I don't come from a wealthy family.
Wealthy family.
Or like have a trust fund, or, the luxury to just like take a whole year off and travel and not have a job.
Yeah, and not have a job. Well, I mean,
yeah.
Gap years probably do get jobs, but it's...
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to get jobs like... while you're traveling. I mean, you have to get under the table.
Under the table work, yeah. You know what I mean? Backhanders by order of the Peaky Blinders.
Which I did consider, because I wanted to do that, but I just couldn't. I had such a hard time finding somebody to go with me. Friends would be like, yeah, let's go. And then it would come time to go out. And they'd say, oh, actually, I don't have the money to go.
Gonna drop out.
I was saving up money. I wanted to go. I was like making plans. I had everything written out. I wanted to go to Italy, and I wanted to go to France, and I wanted to go to Spain, which now I have been to all of those places.
Yes.
But at the time I wanted to go there. I couldn't find anybody to come with me. My brother was willing to come with me, but he's a few years younger than me, and he was still in school and figuring things out, and he was just like, oh, let me get situated and then I'll go. And I was just like, nah, I want to go now. Yeah. I was very impatient. I wanted to go then. So I went. Well, I decided, you know what, if I'm going to go and I'm going to be by myself, how about I just like make it easy on myself and go to Britain, because they speak English.
They speak their language.
I'll be able to read the signs and like...
Able to read the signs well.
And like get around.
Were you able to read the signs? Were you really?
Okay, I don't know what that means, but I'll be able to get around and all of that kind of stuff. And then it just so happened, like, I was planning on doing that and trying to get things figured out. When was I going to go and all of that. And then I met Dominic.
Wah, wah, wah.
I met him online, and we started talking, and I was just like, yeah, I've been planning on coming over there, and and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, hey, this would be really handy if I knew somebody in Britain.
Trip for someone to show you around.
Yes.
Fortunately, I had no idea where anything was in Britain or how to get anywhere, and the chocolate supply had run out, so yeah.
I also met a couple of American girls who were one was living in London,
yeah.
one was living in Liverpool. So it was like, okay,
It's a long time ago.
I've kind of hooked up with some people. So, you know, I'll go over there by myself and then I'll meet up with these people and we'll go around together and it'll be good. And it worked out that way. So it was great. I came back home and then a few months later, I found myself going to Britain again. Yeah. So it was like April.
It was like, yeah, it was almost the beginning of like summer.
Yeah.
And this end of spring.
And this time I was going over there to see Dominic and stay at his house and yeah, it was like, I can't remember if it was the end of April or what. So I had just come back in December. So it was January, February, March, April, 4 months about later.
Yeah, it was about 4 months later.
And
it wasn't a whole year at all, no.
No, or even 6 months.
And
so I had turned around and I was going back over there. And if you've ever done that, you probably know not to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's just kind of like a changing kind of rule or whatever, because some people travel and they go back to a country and they come back again and they come back and they go back to that country again and, you know, nothing happens, you know.
Well, if you're working...
No consequences.
If you're working or, you know, if you have like a really valid reason.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you should be away for like at least 6 months before you come back if you don't live in that country. I mean, obviously you can come back, to wherever, like if you went away and came back and then went somewhere else and came back, obviously in Britain, they're not going to be like, oh, why are you back?
No,
it's like, I live here.
Yeah.
But for me, I had just been there a few months earlier, so... And you can look this up and find this out online. And I kind of, to be honest, had seen that this might be an issue. It's not always. It really just depends on the passport control person that you're dealing with, I think.
Yeah.
But it's better if you can not come back for at least 6 months. Because they want to know, like, why are you coming back? And do you have the money to come back? Why do you have the money to come? Because it's a very expensive trip.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
And so it just raises red flags for them. I mean, they're just doing their job. I get it. Okay. So that being said, let me get back to the story. So I'm back there. The first time I went to Britain, I went through Gatwick Airport,
which is known as like a kind of like a airport, you know, like they kind of get onto you there, you know.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, Heathrow is a little bit more kinder. I've always experienced it. I mean, because I've got a British passport, so you know I just go straight through. And now you can. Well, the last time we went, it was fine for you to come through with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gatwick's known as like one of those like, you know, where the customs officers are a little bit hostile, you know.
I mean, Gatwick, it's just as an airport, to me, it feels older, a little bit more run down, a little bit more like dark and kind of sad. But you get to Heathrow and everything's bright and shiny and it looks like a brand new airport. It's very clean, it's very nice, it's super busy. And so I flew into Heathrow in April. This is April of 2008. We're talking a long time ago, okay? Like I said before, we're old people. So, I'm waiting in line. Dominic he didn't come to the airport to get me because he sucks. No.
I do suck.
No, you came to... Because Dominic was living in Wales.
I was living in Wales, and I didn't come to the airport to get her because I wasn't driving at that time, and I was living.
You just were going to meet me at the train station.
I was going to meet you at Paddington because you were coming into Heathrow, so Heathrow would come into Paddington. Yeah. So and my train from Wales came into Paddington too, so I was just gonna. We were going to meet at the Paddington Bear statue or something. I think we made all the plans, and you know we're going to meet there, and it's before smartphones ever existed or anything. So you know it was just kind of like texting, and Like the Burger King.
Yeah, no,
thing.
I couldn't even text you. My phone did not work in Britain at all because it wasn't a smartphone. And
we didn't have all this. The world
hadn't
hadn't evolved to that point yet.
I wasn't going to do international roaming or whatever. So it was like I essentially had no phone, no way of communicating.
No.
So we were going to meet at Paddington because it's like, yeah, that's fine. I'll just get I think I even got the Heathrow Express.
I think it probably was because you were there before me. Because I got in a little bit late.
Yeah.
I remember because then I walked out. I was like, okay, there's no statue here. There is one now, but it's not where it was.
Yeah.
It used to be. It was just a Paddington thing, and I was just like, oh, okay, she's not here. And then I kind of turned around or something and looked at the seats, and you saw me then, and you were just like, oh, you were there. You were like, oh, and you went and ran and hugged me like you'd just been released from prison or something. I was just like, what's the matter? Because you were like crying and stuff. And I was just like, oh, what's the matter? What happened? And you were like, they almost didn't let me into the country. They almost didn't let me in.
Oh, I'm laughing now, but yeah, at the time it was not funny. So I'm standing in line at passport control. So if you have never been to Britain or if you're American and you've never been out of the country, what you have to do is when you arrive in the country, you go straight through passport control and then customs, and then you go get your luggage, and then you can get on the tube or the train or car or whatever. Yeah. But you have to go through passport control first. So they want to see your passport. They want to ask you what you're doing there and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm waiting in line. There's a huge long line. And I finally get up there to the front, and I see there's several different passport control agents all across the front of the room, basically. Yeah. And so you can get just whichever one is available. And there's a woman kind of right ahead of me talking to one of the passport control agents, and this agent is and this is early in the morning. This is like, I can't remember what time, but it's early in the morning. So you generally think, or it's been my experience when traveling, that these passport control agents and customs officials and just airport employees in general are generally nicer in the mornings because it's morning and they haven't had to deal with everybody yet for all day, but this woman, she woke up on the wrong side of the bed, this passport control agent, and she was reaming this woman that was in front of me. I can't remember now. It's been so many years ago, but she was reaming her for whatever reason. And I was just thinking, please don't let me go to her. Please do not let me get her. Please, please, please do not let me get her, because it's just like...
like the Sorting Hat, it went, don't want her, eh? Well, here we go.
Yes, if you didn't get that Harry Potter reference, then you need to.
Not Slytherin, eh?
Yes. Yeah, it was very much like that. And, not that I was doing anything wrong. Not that I had anything...
You were carrying drugs, come on,
Not that I had
just admit
anything
it.
to hide or any
you
of
were
that
hiding
kind of
lots
stuff.
of things. You were coming in with loads of money.
But it's just like, I was just
planning to take over the country.
They have a way...
Call yourself Boris Johnson.
They have a way of, like, intimidating you and making you feel like you're doing
it's a power
something
trip
wrong.
for them.
It's sort of like, if I'm being honest, I sort of get the same sort of feeling when I'm around a cop. I feel like he's going to just arrest me in a second for
no reason.
Like, even though I haven't done anything.
Yeah, and there's rights. You do, with them, they have, like, unlimited power. They can stop you from entering the country, and they can, put you in a detention room and interrogate you or whatever like that. And send you back. And they can do that, yes. But, they need to have a cause, really. Yeah. It's not just like power trip where, just like, I don't like the look of that person. Some of them do,
Yeah. Well, no, talking about that, I just want to make it clear that the woman that was getting reamed was
she American?
Yeah, she was just like a white American girl. So not to say that, but I feel like they are a little bit tougher on someone that looks, in quotation marks, this is suspicious for some reason.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was just like a little mousy looking girl. Like, I feel like, I can't remember now exactly, but I sort of think that it seemed like it was a similar situation as me. Like, she was coming back to visit someone. She had just been there recently. So that's why I was like thinking, oh, for God's sake, please do not let me get this woman. And so she finally finishes with her and calls me forward. And so I'm getting the same woman. And I'm like, okay, let me turn on my Texas Southern, like, charm and, like, yes, ma'am, her to death and, like, be super polite with everything and super just, like, yes, and smiley and showing her everything and whatever she says to me. And it didn't really help.
Yeah, because I can't remember what you said. She was just yelling and
She wasn't yelling, but she was very, like, why... She looks at my passport. She's like, you were just here in December. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I was. Why are you coming back this soon? Because the thing is what they think.
Yeah, that must have been, because I don't think they kind of do that anymore.
Well, what they are afraid of is people
coming back and living.
And staying. Yeah. And they're coming back and they're working there illegally or whatever. And they're not staying gone long enough, but they're not citizens and they don't have a legal right to stay in the country. Yeah. So, I get it. But it's like, unless you know for sure that that's what's going on, and they don't know. They don't. And I guess that is their job, is to try to see if that is what's happening.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I mean, I think they were just being over thorough and all that,
So she starts in on me. Why have you come back this soon? And I was just like, to visit my boyfriend. Well, where are you going to stay? At his house in Wales. Well, I don't know. I think she asked for the address and she like needed information and she definitely wanted to see like my return flight home information, that I had that booked.
Yeah.
She wanted to make sure that I was coming back. I had read online, and this is just a side note for
it's a tip for people traveling.
Yeah. Pro tip for anybody listening that might need this information, because I had read it online that sometimes, and she didn't ask me, thankfully, sometimes they can even ask you like to see your bank account information. They have the right to do that, to see if you have enough money to stay, survive there while you're going to stay. Because when I didn't mention this before, but as I said, the first time I went to Britain to visit was 2 weeks. And I wasn't just in London. We went up to Liverpool. We went to Paris. We went out to Kent, to Leeds Castle. I went to Wales. I was like traveling around. Well, this time I was just going into London, and then we were going to like spend the night overnight, I think, and then just go to Wales.
Yeah.
And that's it, and stay in Wales. And I was going to stay there this time for a whole month. So that's what, I was hoping. Oh, I mean, not that I didn't have the money, but I didn't have anything with me to like show her anything, and apparently they can ask you like, do you have this X amount of cash with you? Or
I think you can't bring more than like 25,000 in or something. It's some kind of limit they have.
Yeah. But they do want you to have cash because they want to know that you have the money to stay there.
Yeah.
And that
credit cards or whatever.
The government's not going to have to support you while you're there, or Britain's not going to have to pay to send you home or whatever, And I didn't have anything like that for whatever reason, but I had read that online. So I was like, oh God, is she going to ask me to prove this now or whatever? I definitely had to show her my return flight information. And she was just grilling me, guys. She was grilling me like hardcore, everything. Like, well, I think she asked me what Dominic does and why was I just here? What was his address? What does he do? Why was I coming? Why was I going to stay that long?
Yeah, because you were going to stay a month, weren't you? Was it a month?
Yeah, it was a month this time.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And what did I do that I could take off
that time for?
Yeah. And it was just like, oh my God, I'm just like, oh, because she was not giving me any sort of indication that she was going to let me through.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Oh, I'm really trying hard to remember about the woman ahead of me, because I kind of think that she didn't even finish with her, that she set her aside because she didn't have some sort of paperwork. She didn't have her return, or she couldn't find her return flight information to show her or something. So I think that she just set her aside. Like, she didn't make a determination with her yet.
Her blood was up because of her, maybe.
And I was just like, oh my God, am I about to like be turned around and be, I'd read that too. They'll take you into a room. You'll have to like wait there, and then then they'll just basically put you on a plane and send you back home. And I'm just thinking, I don't have a phone to call Dominic. I think I had your phone number written down though, so that I could have gone to like a payphone to call you. But I was like, will they give me that opportunity, or will they just literally stick me on another plane and I'll just end up going back home, and then you're gonna be like at Paddington waiting and wondering what's happening to me. And I was just freaking out. I was really freaking out, and she just kept on with questions and giving me this really sour face, and she was a real stink pot.
Stink pot. And that's what you said when she let you through, didn't you? She said, you've just been a real stink pot today, aren't you?
And I was just maintaining my, like, cool composure. I didn't cry or anything like that, even though I seriously felt like it. Because you just felt...
It's nerve-wracking, yeah. I mean, the whole kind of trip, you were just kind of, like, talking about it, to us, and everybody was just like, what is with that?
Yeah, because she was being super rude.
It's being super rude.
I was being super polite. I was being super polite, and she was being super rude and short with me, everything she said, and just treating me like I was an idiot and like I was some kind of criminal on the freaking do not fly list. It's just like... And I was just trying to like, yes, ma'am, and...
Terrible.
Please, and thank you, and... So anyway, finally, and she, yeah. I'm glad I still can't remember, because that was so traumatic.
Yeah, I mean,
for a while I was just like,
It never happened to me, thankfully, on anything, coming into America. My first time I was searched. I was taken aside and searched. My whole suitcases and everything was searched, but the guy was nice. He wasn't like, what's this and what's that? He was like, what's this and what's that? What's why? Because I was bringing toys in, and a bunch of toys, and they were kind of like, what are you doing with all these? And I was like, I'm just going to give them to
My uncle is a toy sculptor, and he also collects toys that his friends make. I think we mentioned that in another podcast, but just FYI.
Yeah, and I was bringing them to him to give to him, because I hadn't sent them to him or whatever, and it was just. Yeah, he was nice, and it was fine, because I was kind of nerve-wracked. I thought, oh, God, they're going to... Because there was this guy next to me on the thing who was kind of getting really, like, strip shirt searched, almost. Like, they patted him down several times.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, what's in here? Open this up, and da-da-da. And I thought, and he was just like, oh, man, what are you doing? And I think he sounded American, I think. So I don't know why they were kind of, like, giving him such a hard time. Maybe he was Australian, I don't know. I can't remember now, but they were giving him... I was like, oh, man, what are you doing, man? It's just why, Maybe he was British, I don't know. He was getting all, like, worked up with them about it. And I remember the guy opened my, like, toiletries bag. And for some reason, there was a block of wood in there. I don't know why there was. It was like a tiny little block of wood with a hole through it. It was just something that was in there. I don't know if it was, like... I don't know why it was in there. I just never took it out of there.
Like a toothbrush holder or something?
No, it was a tiny. I don't know why it was in there. I don't know if it was my dad's toiletries bag or what. I just remember. He took it out and he goes, and he looks at me like he just gave me this look like, and I said it's just a block of wood with a hole in it. I just look at it and he's just like, okay. And he put it back in. I thought he was going to throw it away, but he put it back in. And I was like, I've been trying to get rid of that thing forever,
Oh, God.
But yeah, I mean, it's just the strange things, like, I've thankfully never had, kind of the last time we came back from Britain, I think, 2014. And I was trying to go through the US line with you. And he was like, because I had my green card by then. And he was like, oh, you're going to have to go through the international line. And it's just like...
we were like, they told us. And they did.
They told us to go...
That we could go together.
They could go together. And he was like, no, they're wrong. You've got to go through the international line. So I had to go all the way. He let us through that time. He said, next time.
Next time, yeah.
And I was just like, oh,
But apparently it just really depends on the agent. That's the annoying thing.
The annoying thing, it depends on the agent if they're going to let you through with a green card,
Well, whatever, just anything. Yeah. The agent has sort of ability to use his or her discretion on whatever, every single issue, and they can just treat you like complete garbage if they want to.
I mean, unfortunately, I don't know if it's been TSA as it's called over here, or Homeland Security, or in Britain it's just UK Border Control.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's, it's just discretion of the agent. If they're on a power trip that day, they're like, oh, I'm going to pick on you today and make your life a misery. But it's like, I think there's some sort of if they're doing nothing wrong, then you've got to let them through, Yeah.
I mean, basically, this woman finally let me through.
Yeah, she let you through. What, did she just stamp your passport and go on?
She was, and she basically said go on, but she also pretty much said don't come back for, a while. Don't come back.
Don't come back.
You're gonna
ever.
Yeah, basically if you come back this soon again, we're not letting you in.
She later quit her job and went to work at the tourist board. So, she's now encouraging people to come to Britain.
Yeah. But
with the message, don't come back. Come to Britain and don't come back ever. Never see this show ever.
But I mean, that's just the luck of the draw. I could have easily gotten somebody else, and I'm not telling you guys this story to scare you. Because odds are it's not going to happen to you unless you're coming and going to a country that you don't live very frequently.
It's it's going to be awful for someone who's never been out of let's say America, for instance, going to Britain or wherever. It's going to be awful for them. Their first time on the plane, their first time out of the country, to get that reception. Yeah. It's going to sour everything, Yeah.
I don't think, if they've never been to the country before, I don't expect them to get that sort of reception. I mean, they shouldn't. There's not really a reason that they should, I don't think.
When we were traveling through London for our Spain trip, I remember we went through UK. I could go through the beep thing and go on, but I thought, no, I can't do that because then we'd be separated because you haven't got a British passport. So I'll just go up to the line and show him and say, oh, and he looked at our boarding country. He goes, you're here for one day, kind of what? That's a bit weird. Yeah. I was like, yeah, we're just traveling through or whatever, we're here, Yeah. But, I thought, because we've never had any problems since going through that line. It's never been a problem. I sometimes thought it's they're going to be oh, well, she can't come through this line because she's not British and, she's got to go through the international line. Yeah. And they've always been oh, that's fine, It's because we're married, Yeah. So it kind of, that if you're married to a American or British citizen, I mean, a British citizen going to Britain anyway, you can probably go through the British line. It's much faster. You don't have to wait in line. It's nice, Because we've asked as well. I mean, we've asked if every time we've been there, can we go through the line? They're oh, yeah, you're married. Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
And Heathrow's thankfully been nice. We've never had someone going, oh, no, you can't. You'll have to split up.
Yeah.
Then the moment we get that, though, I'll be like, what?
Yes. I was very shaken up by that whole experience. I was very put off of I was very put off of Britain momentarily for that reason. I was like, wow, freaking
how dare they?
Bleep.
How dare they? I'm so glad we left this country. I'm so glad we rebelled against you.
But at the time, I was like my heart was racing, and I wanted to cry, and I was just like, oh my God,
How dare you treat me like that?
I was afraid I wasn't going to find my suitcase. I didn't know where it was going to be because she was holding me there for so long,
Oh, well, yeah, your suitcase would just be... Because I got... The first time I came over here, I was searched and, went through, and it was a long time, and... they put it back on an elevator, and I had to go round this way. It was in Houston Intercontinental, and I had to go around a weird way after they took me in, and get to the carousel. Mine was the only one left. It had been taken off the carousel and put there, and there was a sniffer dog right there sniffing my stuff.
Yeah.
He was taking it around, just going sniffing, and he was sniffing and sniffing and sniffing, and I was like, do I grab the bag? And the guy was there holding it, and he was just looking at me like, yeah, just wait till he's done sniffing. And the dog looked at me like that, and he's like, sniffing again, and then he just like walked off, and then they just eventually walked off, there's like no drugs in there,
Yeah.
That bloody block of wood, I tell you.
A funny thing about Heathrow, though, is you get your suitcase. I think I said before that you go through passport control and then customs, but you've got to get your suitcase first and then you go through customs. But at Heathrow, it's literally just like doorways, and it's like written on the wall, do you have anything to declare? Go through this door. Do you not have anything to declare? Go through this door. And it's just like...
Who goes through the declare?
Yes.
I don't.
Does?
I mean, the only thing...
I don't ever have anything to declare, but I mean, yeah, like, because you just walk through that and there's nobody there. There's nobody, like, stopping you or anything. You just walk through, and then it's just like you're just
it's
into
like,
the open. And
if you're carrying... It's usually they stop you when you're carrying stuff on the plane or carrying it off, and it's in the bag, and it goes through the thing, It's like if we have a bottle of, like, I don't know, Corsican brandy or sake or whatever, like your mum had that time, and they take it, and they just, I can't take that in because it's...
Yeah.
Liquid or whatever. Just stick it in your suitcase.
Yeah.
People always say that, I should have packed the whatever in the suitcase, and checked it, and it would have gone through fine,
But anyway. That's my little story time. I survived.
She survived, and she's back in America now.
I made it to Paddington. I was actually there before Dominic's train got in.
I don't know how long you were waiting there for. For me, I don't think you ever said.
I don't think it was too long. No, I can't remember.
Because when I got there, I kind of walked in because I thought, I'm a little bit late because I knew when her flight got in, and I knew around the time that it took to get from Heathrow to Paddington. And I was just like, okay, where is she? Okay. And I was about to take my phone out when you rushed up and was like,
Yes. I was like, I almost didn't get in.
But it was okay.
It was fine, yes.
We went and had something. We went and ate, and it was okay.
Yeah.
I remember we went to eat after that because we stayed in London for the first couple of nights. We went to eat, then we went back to the hotel, and I read you Eric Clapton's biography, and we went to sleep.
We went to sleep. Yeah. But anyway, so that is the story time for today, and
very lovely.
Let it serve as a warning. No, I'm just joking. No, don't get freaked out. I mean, it's probably not
Enter Britain at your peril.
It's probably not going to happen to you. So, probably. We are on Ko-fi. If you enjoy our content, we have a Ko-fi page. It's KO-FI. And it is an online tipping service. You can go on there and leave us a little tip, and we'll just put that toward our ability to continue making these podcasts for you guys. And we appreciate it if you do, and we appreciate it if you don't, because there are plenty of other ways you can support us. You can support us by sharing us with your friends, hitting like, reviewing us, all of the things you guys know. We're on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So find us there. Find us on our website. Communicate with us. Share the love.
Share the love, everybody. And don't enter Britain if you see someone getting crazy at passport control. Don't go to that woman.
And we'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.